What's up, everybody? Welcome to another World Cup recap here on Touchline Talk. Before I jump in, as always, be sure to hit that subscribe button right here on YouTube so you don't miss the rest of the videos I will put out throughout the World Cup. You can also scan that QR code that is right next to me on the screen to go check out my written work on Substack. You can also become a subscriber there to get all of my written stuff sent directly to your inbox. Okay, so this is a complete weekend recap. So I'm going to kind of go through all of the groups in order quickly and sort of highlight one game, which is the score you're going to see on the screen next to me. So starting in Group C, Argentina get a massive 2-0 win over Mexico. There was not much happening in this game for either team outside of Lionel Messi in the second half. Messi does Messi things, and ultimately it's enough to get 2 goals for Argentina. One of them he scores, the other he plays a role in creating. That was about the scoring opportunities in this game. And so all of a sudden now Argentina went from being in massive trouble to having a chance to top this group. They probably will do so if they win that last game. Now, that's a big if, which is why I'm still more than happy with the emphasis I put on how much trouble Argentina were in. I don't regret the way I framed that loss to Saudi Arabia. You got to beat Mexico, and then you have to beat Poland in order to top this group, and that is no easy task. But they got the first part done. They are now in a much better position. They would have been in massive, massive trouble had they not gotten 3 points out of this game. But Messi delivers. Mexico, similar frustrations from the Poland game. Not as good going forward, in my opinion, in this one. And just there's just not any kind of really momentum with this team. You feel like they're still alive. You do have the Saudi Arabia game left, so there's an opportunity there. But this was a massive, massive win for Argentina. Then the other game in this group, Poland get past Saudi Arabia. Robert Lewandowski gets his first World Cup goal, picks up an assist. Wojciech Szczesny comes up huge, saves a penalty, something like 5 total saves, I think it was. You get sort of the big names for Poland to step up, and so Poland are the ones at the moment in control of this group. But again, that could very easily change because it's Poland-Argentina on match day 3. Then going to Group D, your headliner, France gets the win over Denmark. I was pretty confident this is going to be the end result, not because I was that confident France was going to win, but because I just bet against teams beating the same team 3 times in a short span, and that's what Denmark were trying to do. Now, yes, the other two didn't come in a World Cup. It's a different environment, all that stuff. You're trying to beat France 3 consecutive times, though. That's just not an easy task. France, dominated the ball, had the better chances. Denmark were hanging in there. You get a set-piece goal from Andreas Christensen, but then Kylian Mbappe strikes again late on to get the win for France. It was a win they deserved. Denmark just didn't create enough going forward. Christian Eriksen was not a massive factor in this game. The striker position is still an issue there. And so when everything doesn't go perfectly against France, you're probably going to lose, and that's what happened to Denmark. You combine that with Australia's win over Tunisia, and all of a sudden Australia is sitting here. I mean, France are going to go through. Australia is sitting here in second place, knowing all they need against Denmark is a draw, which creates another level of intrigue for this game. Now, from the Denmark side, you can pass Australia by winning that game. There are a lot of these situations, right, where one team, if you get the draw, you're going through, and if you lose, that team that you're playing head-to-head that's behind you, because of those 3 points that could swing the other way, are going to take your spot. This is one of those situations. It's the same thing the U.S. is facing against Iran. I still like Denmark to do this and finish and have this group finish exactly as everybody expected, with France in first and Denmark in second. But this is the risk you take when you draw a game against Tunisia and Australia finds a way to beat Tunisia. And you don't get anything from the France game. Because now you are sitting on 1 point with 1 game to go, which means you have to win that game. And you are now playing a team that knows all they need to do is prevent you from winning. and they are in position to get to the knockout round. So this is going to be a fascinating matchup between Denmark and the Socceroos to see how Group D finishes. In Group E, perhaps your best matchup of match day 2 in any group, Spain, Germany end up sharing the spoils 1-1, a result that doesn't impact either team all that much. Both of them ultimately are okay with it. It keeps Germany within striking distance. They wouldn't have been eliminated with a loss, but a loss would have really put them in a difficult position, needing a lot of things to go their way on match day 3. Now you're in a better position with that game against Costa Rica to round out this group. Spain, though, are the ones that take the lead. A very nice team goal finished off by Alvaro Morata when he comes on. And so now Germany are in trouble. Spain definitely not as dynamic as they were against Costa Rica, but that's also understandable considering you're going up against Germany. And, Antonio Rudiger has a goal taken off for an offside. It was a pretty balanced game. Germany didn't wow me for large portions, but neither did Spain. And then Germany really came to life at the end of this game, and that's what I want to focus on for a minute here. One of the conversations about this Germany team is that striker position. Of course, you lose Timo Werner. Kai Havertz is not in the starting lineup for this game, but the frustrations were there even when those two guys were available or on the field. Nicholas Füllkrug came in and changed this game. Now, it's one of those sort of cause and effect things where how much of it was directly related to his involvement and his introduction into the game, that is debatable. What's not debatable is that he scored the really important goal to put his country in a much better position, and he should have scored a second one had Jamal Musiala squared him the ball like he should have. I love Musiala. I absolutely am blown away every single time I watch him. That was just a terrible decision on his part. He's going to want that one back. Füllkrug had beaten everybody else at the far post. It should have been a goal. And so whether you want to say that this is more the circumstances of Germany needing a goal and not necessarily attributing it so much to Füllkrug, of course it's a little bit of everything. But if you want to say it's more just the circumstances Germany found themselves in, that's fine with me. All I know is they looked better with a true number 9 on the field, and whether you want to point to Füllkrug as a reason this game kind of turned around at the end and Germany got the important goal, you need a number 9. It's not like this is working for Germany without one. It's been one of the massive flaws that has been at the center of their struggles. It's not like they're making, Manchester City, when they were playing without a number 9, they were doing just fine. It wasn't an issue. It's been an issue for Germany. And do I think Nicholas Füllkrug is the long-term solution? Probably not. I mean, his team got promoted to the Bundesliga this season. But he's scoring goals in the Bundesliga. He's scoring goals in his very brief amount of time with the German national team. Right now, you are not worried about any of that stuff. He is scoring goals. He is making an impact. You got to start him. Especially in a game where you're going to need to score. You need to win. I would be stunned if Füllkrug's not in the starting lineup. He has earned it based on what he's done in this tournament coming off the bench. He was massive in this game. Somebody needed to put the ball in the net. They had their chances before, and nobody really took them. Nicholas Füllkrug came on, put himself in a position to get one goal, and then actually took the ball and said, I'm going to do this myself, after Musiala didn't square the previous one to him, and he got himself a goal. To me, you can't worry about anything else at this point. You got to find a way to put your best 11 players on the field. And right now, Nicholas Füllkrug is one of those best 11 players for Germany. He should be in that starting lineup for that next game. And they've been trying to play with a striker, or at least, Kai Havertz is kind of a false 9. And it just hasn't worked. And this is working. Füllkrug is putting the ball in the net. You got to ride the hot hand. And right now, that's Nicholas Füllkrug. The other game in this group that adds another dimension is Costa Rica beating Japan. Japan only had, I think it was 3 shots on goal from the stats I looked at real quick. Plenty more shots and, created chances, but they just didn't do enough with their dominance in this game. You're relying on sort of that one or those 2 moments to get you a goal. And sometimes it just doesn't happen. And when Keylor Navas is in net, he also makes that more difficult than your typical goalkeeper because he has the ability to go win his team a game. And Costa Rica get one kind of opportunity that comes sort of off a turnover and finds its way into the back of the net, and all of a sudden they have 3 points. And really changed the equation in this group. Because had Japan won that game like they were supposed to, the Germany-Spain equation is different because you already know the result of that Costa Rica-Japan game since it happened first, and the situation is very different heading into match day 3. But now, all of these teams are still right there, and if somebody can find, if 2 teams win these last 2 games, they are in a good position, no, not guaranteed, but they are in a good position to go through. And so, if you get another weird Costa Rica situation, all of a sudden Costa Rica have 6 points. Do I think that is going to happen? No. But would it stun me if we get a not so great German performance and all of a sudden here's Costa Rica? It is not outside the realm of possibility. I'm going to trust Germany get this done. But bad loss for Japan. They had control of this. It was completely within their grasp. And now, to an extent it is because you're still playing that game, but you really let this slip away and sort of invited some other factors into this and made your job much more difficult because you got to play Spain now. And you got to play a Spain team that has 4 points and not 6, and a Spain team that still has not only have they not clinched first place in this group, they haven't clinched a spot in the knockout stage yet. So Japan were definitely the biggest losers on match day 2. You went from being in this terrific position to having a lot of work to do to even get to the knockout stage at this point. And then finally, we have Group F and Morocco's win over Belgium. So much has been made about sort of this Belgian defense, whether this team is capable of making one more run at a major tournament. I was higher on Belgium than most people. I thought they had, not that they were going to win this, but I thought they had one more run in them. They still might. But that attack has to be so much better. Defensively, there were issues against Canada, and Canada obviously dominated them from a statistical standpoint. But they're not creating the chances that you need, and their stars are not delivering the way they need to. Kevin De Bruyne just has not been very good in this tournament so far, and part of this is there is nobody else to, Romelu Lukaku's working his way back, but you don't have somebody that can kind of carry the burden with you. You don't have a world-class Eden Hazard. You have what is left of Eden Hazard. And so that is the difference between this Belgian team and previous iterations where you had 3 or 4 guys who could carry your team, could carry your attack. It is Kevin De Bruyne at this point. And your depth at striker outside of Lukaku is not great. You got a goal there. And it was an incredibly important one because they could easily be in the same position Canada is with those 2 losses and eliminated. And so, from the Morocco standpoint, Hakim Ziyech, big game, comes up with some big moments, puts him in a position to win this game, nearly scored off of a free kick that got called back. He was really good. Morocco were really good. And that Belgian defense is not going to carry you. This team is built to score more goals than the opponent, and they are not scoring goals right now. And now Morocco are very much in control and kind of, this is all about just what they do here. They've got a team that is eliminated from this competition in their final game. Now, it's a very good Canada team that I still think is going to come out with something to prove. But that is what is standing in your way. Meanwhile, Belgium have to play Croatia. So this is another group that's setting up to be absolutely fascinating. And as I mentioned, the Croatia win eliminated Canada. Canada looked really good for the first 5 minutes. Alphonso Davies gets a goal. First World Cup goal in the history of the Canadian men's national team. And then it all fell apart. Canada got overrun in midfield. The idea of playing two and going 2v3 against that Croatia trio, especially when one of those players is Atiba Hutchinson coming off of short rest. I will continue to talk about rest and rotation in this tournament. I do think it's that important, especially for a player at Atiba Hutchinson's age. But even so, just the idea of playing 2v3, Croatia just controlled everything in there, and that was pretty much the game. And the other part of this, too, not only did they control the midfield like you would expect, and not only did they come out with a real sense of purpose because of what John Herdman said after the Belgium game, Andre Kramaric started scoring goals. Nearly had a hat trick. Got two. This is the question with Denmark. This is the question with Croatia. Can you find somebody to consistently score you goals? And Andre Kramaric produced what Croatia needed in this game. And so all of a sudden they get this comfortable win. They're in a really good spot. Canada, really unfortunate. Based on the balance of play, they should not be eliminated at this point. But you catch the one bad break. The second game does not go your way. You don't play particularly well. And that's that in this group because of the way everything else is played out. So you got 3 teams, Morocco, Belgium, Croatia, for those 2 spots in Group F. We will see how that plays out. And that is all for this World Cup recap. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.